doesn't want to be messed with too much. And sometimes being a rider, whether it's exercising horses or riding races, you got to know when to be a good pilot, and you got to know when to be a good passenger. And it sounds like with this horse, you're better off being a passenger.
A little finicky as well. Doesn't like to have any horses behind him or too close to him when he works as well. Maggie, you had an opportunity to look from his work back on May 21st as well. What stood out to you?
That it definitely did not look as though he was going the 47-1 that he was, Greg, and he galloped out really well too. I think Gabriel Luna got lucky that it was a very quiet track too. Not many other horses around, like we're obviously going to see today, but a little bit different energy. You know, horses, they don't come over in the afternoons, as Tom Amoss was talking about, to work. So he's thinking he's going to a race. Now, granted, not necessarily, but still, there's going to be people in the stands, and it might get him a little bit revved up as he's going to back up to the finish line, jogging the wrong way, and then set out jogging and galloping to the 5-furlong pole. Now, I've watched him in the mornings too when I was down there before the Kentucky Derby, and he is an aggressive type of horse. So, as Tom was saying, Greg, look for him for a fast workout. He did work at sub-minute in 59 and change in his last work before the Kentucky Derby as well.
All right, Maggie, thank you. In terms of the heat, Mig, you know, guys, and here he is already acting up, show you how difficult he can be.
Yeah, I mean, right there, I mean, immediately he's going off, and he showed he can be obstreperous, he can be high-spirited, a lot of energy. This would be akin in other sports to an open practice. You get to go see the Giants practice for preseason. You get to see an open skate Rangers up at their practice facility. So this is, to me, very similar, where people are getting a bit more of a look into the behind the scenes, if you will. Keep an eye on him, though. This is a really good rider, but this horse can be difficult. We saw that after the Kentucky Derby.
Well, Tom, Frank, let's get back to you guys. Is this a concern immediately off the bat, or nothing to be worried about?
Horse comes out and is acting the way this horse is, with the situation that he has to deal with the people today. There's a lot of people down here on the rail, and Tom, like, his equipment will obviously give us an indication as to what type of work they're looking for. What do you see with his equipment on today?
So he typically works in 4 bandages, and he's working in 4 bandages today. He does not run in 4 bandages, but he typically works in 4 bandages, and he typically gets a little hot on his shoulder. If you see him get a little sweaty on his shoulder before he's even gotten to the work, that is his MO. So I would not hold any of those things against him. As far as him acting up coming onto the track, look, it's the afternoon. He knows it's game day. He passed a workman's cart. He's not used to seeing that on the racetrack before. I think he's handling himself nice at this point. I think the rider's working very well with him, getting him loosened up. And what you're watching right now is what you or I, Frank, would do before we go for a jog. He's stretching.
Yeah.
Jogging is stretching for horses, where we might stretch it. If you could still touch your toes, you would do that before you went for a run.
Yeah, it's been a long time from that day. So, Tom, this horse runs in blinkers, am I right?
He does.
So the blinkers are off today, so it indicates to me that they're looking for, exactly like I said, probably a minute 1:01, and he'll gallop out from there, and you know, hopefully they'll be very happy with the work.
Good luck with that.
Yes,
He's going to work quick. And he never works in blinkers. He didn't work with blinkers before the Kentucky Derby. This is his pattern for Eric Reed. Again, part of him going faster than perhaps that minute, which I foresee, has a lot to do with how fast the racetrack is this afternoon.
True.
So it's not as if, oh my gosh, he did too much if he works at, say, 58, which I actually think is going to be about the time he's going to work.
Well, that's probably so, and you're right, 100% right. This track is a lot faster than the situation they face in the morning, where I would sure that this type of work, that a 1:01 is probably more like 59 on this today's surface.
No doubt.
So we'll see him get into action here in a moment. And Mig, in terms of keeping this horse comfortable early, is it going to be a gradual, slowly sort of getting into the meat of this work and trying to keep him comfortable now as a rider in the heat with the crowd?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's going to be interesting here. You know, he's probably going to want to stand out for a second, but probably not too long, because you do have a crowd there. The crowd's going to react to it's the Kentucky Derby winner. So there's already atmosphere. You saw him. He was kind of cantering almost in place. He didn't pick up a jog till very late around the far turn. And part of it is the rider has to kind of keep him moving. He doesn't want him to do something so silly and, you know, potentially throw the rider or get away from him. You see, he didn't even stand him out. He kind of kept him going in a circle. Now he jogs off. He'll pick up his canter. And a lot of this is just going to be, it's trying to keep the lid on him a little bit, keep him contained until you get to that 5 furlong pole, and then clear the runway for takeoff.
Tom, Frank, I mean, you guys are out there. I know, Tom, you've had a chance to see quite a bit of him since that Kentucky Derby win as well. How has he looked since that victory?
I think he's looked quite good, and I think he looks like himself on the track today. He is showing all the characteristics he shows in the morning. You see he's a little sweaty on his shoulders. That is him on a daily basis on the racetrack. Nothing to be alarmed about. Look, it's 90 degrees today, guys. I can tell you the humidity is not that much, but it is a 90-degree day here at Churchill Downs. A lot of wind today. The wind is blowing up the stretch, but it has not affected the horses that have been racing so far. These have been running some very, very fast times, but the wind is directly going to be blowing in his face as he finishes up the last quarter mile of this workout, the top of the stretch home.
I think Eric will be very happy with him because, like I say, he's a tougher horse than most horses, you know. And to have him come out, see the people, be relaxed, go to the pole relaxed the way he is right now, I'd be happy.
So we're going to see him get underway here in a moment. Tom, obviously doing this in the afternoon with a crowd on national television, a lot of eyeballs on you as a trainer. Probably, would Eric Reed prefer to do this in the morning where he could just kind of control the environment a little bit more?
Well, I think there are a couple of things at play here, Greg. Number one, it's really very statesmanlike of Eric Reed to work this horse for the crowd and allow the people to come out and see the Kentucky Derby champion of 2022 and the probable favorite for our Belmont Stakes on June the 11th. So in that regard, I tip my hat to him. What happens here today is going to have a lot to do with how he trains this horse up to the Belmont. Does he get what he wants? Is it too much? Is it not enough? He can make some things different after this work, training-wise, if he needs to. You see him go into a gallop now. Watch him get a little bit aggressive here as he starts to go to the pole. He is about an eighth of a mile from the pole right now. He'll start picking up his speed more and more. And the pole he's going to pass, the 5/8 pole, 5/8 from the wire, is a green and white pole. You'll see him hit it, and that's when the clock starts and starts timing his work.
So underway now in the work, and things we're looking for, guys, obviously the rider's hands, how fast he's moving early, but as he starts this out, from what you know of this horse, do you like what you see?
Yeah, I think very much so. I like what he sees. The horse is very relaxed. The rider's got his hands down on the shoulders. He hasn't asked the horse for anything yet. Horse is very willing. I'd be happy.
Yeah, I'd be happy too. I actually think the horse is a little more relaxed than I anticipated he would be. I don't have any splits on this work. In other words, what each eighth of a mile is so far, but I anticipated it to be very, very quick. And as Richie and I discussed a little earlier, maybe man against horse.
So the quarter,
20.
yeah.
That's quick,
yeah.
But remember, we've got a very, very fast track here.
Again, and guys, it's warm too. Could a
loves
work
this
like
track.
this, guys, on a warm afternoon, could this take something out of him for the
Really,
Belmont?
really good looking work. Stretching his legs nicely, hands barely moving from the rider. I'm going to imagine that is right on the 58 we talked about, Frank.
And he's galloping out just like I said
I
he
would look for a good gallop out here, you guys. I would look for the gallop out to be all the way around the turn. That's traditionally what he does.
59 flat.
And he's got to get ready to go a mile and a half, Frank. None of these horses have ever been a mile and a half. This is a big move.
The thing that I'd be most worried about is getting Sonny Leon to know to say, don't move too soon, Sonny. You know, when you think about moving, count to 10 and then move.
Especially going a mile and a
Mile
half,
and a
right?
half at
I mean,
Belmont.
at a track he's not familiar with wide turns. Look, bottom line, Greg, I thought this was a very, very good-looking work. I thought Rich Strike relaxed well throughout the work. I thought he got over the ground well. I thought he took his leads properly. Everything looked good from our end here in the grandstand.
So you want to see a comfortable gallop out, guys, not too choppy or anything like that. Are you seeing that with him here?
No way. He galloped out perfectly. This is a very good work. I'm sure Eric Reed will be ecstatic about this work. Now he just hopes he comes back, he eats tonight, and he goes off to Belmont.
You think it's just what he's looking for?
Yeah.
That's trainer parlance. We say that a lot. Just what I was looking for.
Yeah.
That stops all the questions.
That's it.
But truthfully, this was a very, very good work, very good-looking work of our Kentucky Derby champion, who's going to go on to Belmont, and I think will be the Belmont favorite on the.
Oh, he can win. He